We are live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Oob Ball Studios in Sacramento, California. I feel like with March Madness going on, you got to make the opening of a show really count. Live from Aaron Brewski's basement with Meatloaf. Dan Bepsis and Aaron Brewski. Welcome to Fantasy NBA Today, everybody. It's our live Friday YouTube show. I am but a logo for the moment because, of course, it is Fun Shirt Friday. And he is Aaron Brewski, writhing, squirming in a heated 30 battle that is going to come down to a big Sunday of action. Brew,
I don't do good in these situations. Like I'm like Billy Bean in Moneyball. Like I'll turn off the TV. I'll not want to watch it. I think like really stupid stuff. Like my wife will come in and be like, "That player sucks," and I'm like, "Don't say that. Don't say that. That's just, what are you doing? You can't say that."
Jinxes are very real. No, they're not.
Oh, I'm a baseball guy. I grew up playing baseball a lot. So you don't mess with that stuff.
You're the other side of that equation because I'm terrible at playing sports. And anybody that's watched this live show has taken one look at me and gone, yeah, that guy can't play sports. So he talks about him. And as a baseball radio guy, I'm the polar extreme on the opposite side. You have to talk about stuff. There is no such thing as a jinx unless you are physically there and can impact the ball game. So I'm over here just hammering away on no-hitters and so forth. And I don't care. I don't care. I know that's going to get me killed. I don't care.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. Twitter is its own little universe where things don't make a lot of sense. But, like, people have really bounced or they've come out hard against the jinx, like calling people who believe in the jinx stupid. And I just you can't understand it unless you are like in the dugout, you play. And I think part of it with baseball is, the ball is this big. Just you drop your shoulder, you swing the wrong way. Just one little thing can change the result. And so when you're a hitter or a pitcher, I was a pitcher, I played plenty of other positions. It's just inches. So it doesn't, like, in your head, you go, oh man, it can't be me just throwing the ball the wrong way. It must have been that thing I ate earlier. So I'm not going to eat that thing. That was clearly that thing's fault. So I'm going to just, that we'll get that figured out and we'll try this again tomorrow. That's the only thing I can think about. Cause I don't think in basketball, they're that superstitious. I mean, there's superstition in all sports, but I don't think it's nearly as bad.
No, that's actually kind of nice. Cause again, as somebody who sort of has to by his craft, not believe in jinxes, to be around a sport where jinxes are less of a thing does make my life a little bit easier. But yeah, if you're blaming it on something you ate earlier, it was probably the microwave burrito.
I mean, don't diss the microwave burrito. But no, I'm not kidding. Like, with Major League, that was a big one with the fried chicken. There were times I'm like, do we have to really sacrifice a chicken? Like, is that going to be the next step here?
Bull Durham, there's a great sequence about that. The mound meeting where they're talking about what animal they got to sacrifice, and they're talking about like who's getting married and so forth. It's all a mental game. That's why baseball jinxes are such a big deal, because it's all between the ears in that one.
It is all, that game is, I mean, and I had with my pitching coach, I always just say, look, if you're going to throw the ball in the inside corner, the outside corner, the difference is like that much in a release point. Just, you got to aim and throw. And that's like the hardest thing in the world. Once you've thrown, 5-6 pitches, some of them don't even make it to the catcher, you're just like, oh man, this game sucks. I hate it. I just want to leave. But then you got to throw another pitch. I was put it this way. People feared for their lives when I pitched because they just did not know where it was going. It was either at your head or right on the corner for a called strike.
Eric Wild Thing Brewski. This is great. I gotta queue up a new opening riff for our Friday shows. We're going full Wild Thing Vaughn over here.
I got a great story. We're getting punked in this game. I get asked to come in to pitch with bases loaded in like the 7th inning, which is the last inning in high school ball. And coach comes in, he's like, they're partying too much. Just beam this guy. So I'm like, all right, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll do that. And right down the middle, man. Crack, grand slam, home run. My coach wouldn't talk to me for weeks. Like, just go over there, Brewski. I hate you.
Did you just curse? Are we gonna get in trouble?
No. I said "fuh" like the soup.
Okay. We're safe. I don't have to censor that. It's only 2 letters. No 2-letter curse words out there. To those of you that are tuning in for the first time, this is, of course, our Friday live show. If you're listening to the podcast after the fact and you're wondering, why aren't these guys talking about basketball yet? I feel like ever since we got that 1-2-star rating, I have to explain that the first 5 minutes of our Friday show is to allow live viewers to get into the chat room and watch the program, but I'm doing it now. So as folks kind of make their way in, it's like the early class, you know, if everybody's going back to high school, it's the early class where everybody's sort of bleary-eyed and wandering in. And once we get a quorum here, we'll actually start talking about some basketball. Actually, you know what? I am gonna talk about basketball a little bit, and I'm gonna talk about something that's been a running storyline for us, and that's Kevin Love, who played last night. How about that?
How about that?
How about that?
I don't know. He's on all my teams, so I'm happy. I mean, the great thing about this is that now we get to see kind of how they plan to deploy him. Are they going to rest him a little? You know, is he right on schedule? Does he get out there? And then so if you have him in a weekly league next week, you know, you get a better idea of whether or not you want to use him.
Well, if you got a games cap and you're in any league where it's not a weekly league, I sure hope you're using him, because that was pretty good. 19 minutes, 10 and 9. That bodes very well.
Oh yeah. I'm telling you, there's been some, I feel like we've done pretty well on the long-term injury return date guessing games. Like Chris Middleton, we were like, get him. And then out of nowhere, boom, first report. And now all hoop ballers or oob ballers, if you will, are that's like the St. Patty's Day version of hoop ball to oob ball.
We did it one week soon.
Yeah, we got him. We got him. We got Love. And I'm telling you, I think with the loss in Toronto now, keeping in mind they're 2 games ahead of the Hawks, I just think that every loss that the Raptors have is going to make Kyle Lowry get a little bit more negotiating power at the table, because he's already, I'm sure, even though he's not anywhere close to, well, he's close. He's not close. You know, he's like, I want to play. I don't care. Just throw me out there. I just won't dribble with that hand, coach. And that's another one where I have a team where I could end up having Lowry and Love going for, say, like the last 10 games. And I'm thrilled with that.
My trust level with Kyle Lowry is very, very
well, he's burned you.
Yeah, he has repeatedly. He's been an insufferable lout for my head-to-head teams. I avoided him in all leagues. Obviously, I could have drafted him in a Roto league and get credit for all those nice points and things he was doing for 4 months before he went down. But that head-to-head thing, man, you just how many years in a row is he going to do this to everybody? It is overwhelming. Let's talk about something that makes us happy again, because Kevin Love makes us happy. Scalabissier makes us happy, doesn't he?
Oh, wow. Yeah. And you know what's great about Scal? He's a good kid. Like, he really is just, you know, he gets it. Like, he's happy to be there. He's working hard. He's fun to root for. And I think in Sacramento, they've dealt with DeMarcus Cousins for so long. And, you know, that set that trade aside. We don't care about that anymore. As far as like evaluation goes, it's just this change of kind of attitudes, if you will. I think the Kings fans are enjoying it. Somebody that covers the Kings, it's better to cover something that's fun than something that's like, it's kind of fun because it's crazy. It's like a WWE match, but it's not like real fun, because I think Kings fans have been tortured for so many years. So to see him do this stuff, and then there's the aspect of, it's always great to see a player that's drafted low come out and have star potential, and you get that question: is he Chris Bosh? Is he not Chris Bosh? Is he not? Is he? And it's fun to be a part of that. And he has got as much. I mean, James Ham, who I do the CSN podcast with, he just straight up said he's going to be an all-star. And yeah, I hate that he probably beat me to that prediction. I don't like it when that happens, but I think it's pretty much like I made the bet on Isaiah, 4 years in advance, and I said he'd be an all-star within however many years. I think I did it 3 years, and he made it. He made it under the deadline. It's hard. I don't know if he'll be an all-star. It's a tough climb for, I think, big men. It's harder to get in, but he's got that potential, and fantasy-wise, he's off the charts. Like, the only thing that's killing me here is he's on all my benches because I didn't believe that Jaeger would play him, and it's pretty much like it. Sometimes I hate fantasy sports. I absolutely hate it.
Oh, don't say that.
I hate it. I hate it. It's like you're watching this happen, and you're like, "What? Why? How did I?"
Well, you didn't believe that he would ever play the kid more than 19 minutes, and then he did. Will he do it again?
Well, this is the thing. So I looked at the schedule, and I saw the two. It was the Suns, and I forget who they played. It was a crappy team that they just beat. It'll come back to me. It was two crappy teams, and I'm like, okay, he could do well in that game. I'm thinking like, maybe he gets 18 minutes in each game, but does really well in those games. And then I look down and I see the Spurs and the Thunder, and I go, oh crap, like that's like 12 minutes. The both of them 12 minutes apiece written all over it. So I did all the calculations, and I was like, okay, he's going to get like 50 minutes this week. And so that was the thinking. And
well, he's at 50 now. And it was Orlando, by the way, the cruising, I wouldn't call it a cruising victory, the 5-point win earlier this week. So do you think he can get to 20 minutes against the Thunder, against the Spurs? Is it there?
Here's what's happened here is Scal, by virtue of his really strong play, has put Jaeger in a bind. I don't think Jaeger wants to play him 25 minutes, but how do you not after the games that he's having? I mean, and this is the thing that makes the decision to bring him along slowly so stupid, is he's outplaying his teammates by no small margin at all. So, I mean, I think he might have put Jaeger into a position, if he doesn't play him 25 minutes tonight, if it's like 23, like people are going to be pissed, and it's going to look real bad. Jaeger might do that, though. You just don't know. I want to see him cover LaMarcus Aldridge. I know Aldridge will go right down to the block and start banging, but he has such length that, we've seen Anthony Davis defend LaMarcus Aldridge well and be able to block that fadeaway. I think that Scal can do the same thing. He's just going to have to really hold his own in the post. But people say he doesn't have strength. He has more strength than people think. I think his athleticism is pretty good. But yeah, Aldridge is a heavy guy. It's going to be a tough matchup there.
Let me ask you this, because from more of a details-oriented thing, I have two questions about Scal. Number one, is he predominantly playing center for the Kings right now, or is he playing some 4?
He's playing the 4 because Willie Cauley-Stein is playing the 5, and so is pardon me, Costa Koufos.
So then when they play the Spurs, is it possible that just sort of getting caught up in the wash, could he end up on somebody like a stretch 4 when San Antonio is moving their bigs in and out? Like, could he end up on a David Lee type instead?
And David Lee won't score if that happens. The hard part is, so if you're the Spurs, you probably want to force. You have Costa Koufos as the only really bulky big man that's in the non-Papagiannis division that can maybe hold his own a little bit with Aldridge, but he'll just get eaten up outside. So if you put Willie Cauley-Stein, he has less strength than Scal. So this is a real matchup problem. I think they have to use Scal, but the only other player they can bring in, I think they will do this, is Anthony Tolliver. I think he will be out there for, 24 minutes and get a lot of the duties on LaMarcus Aldridge if they don't go to Scal.
All right, one more question about Scal. He has been about as inconsistent as you could possibly find from the free throw line. Do we actually know anything about what kind of a free throw shooter Scal actually is? Is he the guy that shoots 20% or the guy that makes them all?
I think that he's going to be a bad free throw shooter this year. I think that it's too inconsistent. You know, I don't think he's a good free throw shooter right now. I think that particular shot gives him trouble, but his stroke, like, it's as true as you can find. The form on it, he looks like a dang shooting guard out there when he does these fadeaway jump shots, and they're unblockable. I think in the heat of the play, he doesn't think about it and he just makes the shot. When you get to the free throw line, it's more mental. I think he's having a hard time converting there. So I think it's going to take him until next year. Now, I think he could be a very good free throw shooter in the future. I think once he gets it figured out, like, I could see him shooting like 75, 80% because he has that kind of touch and he's got the good form. So I think eventually that kind of thing will work itself out.
I have two more things I want to go over before we get to the questions. I want to use a lot.
Are they Scal related?
They are not Scal related. That was the breadth of my Scal questions. Did you have more you wanted to say about him? You love
no.
Brewski Hart Scal, I think is what we're determining from all this. We have to talk about Ivica Zubac because I mean the planet right now and possibly neighboring planets are also talking about Ivica Zubac because he had a massive game and then followed it up with an epic stinker. And I got called a little bit of an idiot on Twitter because someone was saying, you know, who would you take in a battle? And I didn't put Zubac first because I said I think there are going to be some games in there where he plays 10 minutes.
Idiot.
Right, exactly. So I'm like, look, there are other big men in LA and they're saying all the right things. And this kid obviously has a lot of talent. There's no question about that. But he's still a rookie. And rookies are prone to games where they disappear. Now, I'm not saying... So nuance, I know, is sort of lost in this day and age.
Idiot!
But this is a nuanced situation because you've got a guy who will sometimes be really, really, really good and sometimes disappear. So where does that put him overall? What kind of expectations can we have from Zubac? Is he going to be good every other game? 2 out of 3? 1 out of 3? What are we thinking?
All I know is you're an idiot, Dan.
Thank you. That makes me feel smart. When people call you an idiot, you're usually doing something okay. Maybe not.
Here's, I was in the stream of consciousness on the Brewski Box Score Breakdown, which is a by far more superior show than the one you're listening to right now.
Go listen to it, by the way.
It's a great show. I was sitting there and I was like, and let's look at his schedule. And I was just sitting there kind of looking at it for the first time. He's got a rough one. Like, so they play the Cavs, or pardon me, they play the Bucks tonight. And I don't think there's great defensive centers there. I mean, John Henson, you can say what you want about him. I don't know that, he's got the lift anymore. But he's known for his defense. It's not like the Milwaukee Bucks with all that length are going to be a cakewalk for him. Milwaukee's in the playoff chase. They're going to be playing hard. Giannis Antetokounmpo draws fouls as good as anybody. Greg Monroe is as good as anybody at getting to the line. So, I mean, foul trouble is the thing with him that's probably most prominent. And that's what dinged him the other night. Then you get the Cavs. That won't be fun. He gets the Clippers after that. So he gets DeAndre Jordan. Then he gets Cat with the Wolves. Then he'll get Yusuf Nurkic with Portland, and that's kind of a grab bag. You don't know which way that would go. Then he gets Marcin Gortat. Then he gets Cat. Then he gets DeAndre Jordan again. Then he gets Marc Gasol. Then he gets the Spurs. That'll be tough, And then he'll get a break with Sacramento there. Then he gets Cat again, and then he gets Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins, and then he gets the Warriors to finish out the year.
A lot of Wolves in there.
Yeah, that was 3 more games with the Wolves there. So I mean, these are all tough matchups. I mean, you can make an argument that any team will look at LA and be like, screw it, we're not going to play hard tonight. But I think I called him a must-own player. I didn't call him a must-add player, where you take the worst player on your team, regardless of what's going on, and you just add the guy. Because there are these holes. There are these question marks as far as night-to-night performance, and can he actually be a good ROI in the process?
That was kind of where I was sitting on it as well. I mean, And then the Skal versus Zubats discussion was one that came up. I think I got that. I
think Skal can be like a top 40 player.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And the best part about that is, number one, I have him in my Roto League. And number two, because of Steph Curry's, hopefully, and see, this is where I'm going to knock on wood, because I don't believe in jinxes. Steph Curry's shooting slump, could it be over? We hope so. But because of his slump, I need somebody that's going to be a field goal percentage
monster.
Yeah, somebody.
That's Skal.
Offset.
The thing about this is why it's so intriguing about Skal is he's going to get a lot of dunks, which are really the key to field goal percentage, and he's also going to shoot well when asked to shoot. So the combo of the two, that's why certain players are so great in fantasy, like Karl Anthony Towns, Kawhi Leonard, guys that get easy buckets is kind of what I'm getting at there. So that's going to be just, and I think when we were telling people must own on Skal, was at least a week or two ahead of everybody else. So I feel like we got all the Skal as well.
I'm hoping that, and everybody sort of knows this, I feel like it's fun sometimes to tell everybody who you're dealing with. And for me, the issues came from the fact that Jonas Valanciunas became a ghost, and Tyson Chandler actually is a ghost. So forget becoming one. He doesn't exist anymore. There's just this weird like Tyson spirit that hangs out behind the Phoenix bench. Those guys were kind of floating my field goal percent for most of the year, and then they both went away. So this is a big deal, and hopefully that pans out. You got Skal a little bit ahead of Zubats. I feel like it's pretty close.
I have him a lot ahead of Zubats.
You don't even think it's close?
I don't even think it's close.
Amazing. That's outstanding.
Isn't that great?
That's awesome. I love a man who puts his freaking foot down.
Well,
you are drawing a line in the sand.
This is the thing that pisses me off. You're throwing a party for Zubats when he goes for whatever he went for the other night, and he has that game that's like, like what happened here? And you need to be out there calming the masses. Like when Jokic was struggling, we're like, hey, everybody, chill out. This is okay. Go buy low. You don't disappear when the guy doesn't do well. You say, no, I believe in this.
Yeah.
Or you hide. You can go hide.
Or if you really feel like you need to change an opinion on something, then you do that too, which is okay. Like, if something changes, and Josh Richardson, I think, is a pretty good example of that, right? Where it seems like it's just not going to work out this year. Yeah,
we threw the drop, or I threw the drop in the Brewski breakdown probably 2 to 3 days ago. And, identifying that this will be a common thread throughout a lot of my teams, because I had them in a lot of places where something didn't work. And at the end of the day, I'm all right with the prediction because of everything I went into it and, injuries and all that. But at the end of the day, I'm also going to own that didn't work. And the other thing with the Zubac stuff is he's been a must own on some sites since like late January.
Yeah, that's rough.
What are you talking about? Congratulations if you listen to us.
That's too many poor games to, the thing I think that bugs everybody is when he does go crazy like that, we can all see that he really could be a pretty good basketball player.
Oh yeah.
Soft hands, nice touch around the rim. The fact that he's able as such a young guy to sort of handle the basketball in traffic in the NBA is pretty impressive. But he's still a rookie, so there are going to be those games.
Well, he's not going to get any calls. That's the hard part with this.
Like, he got no fouls in that last game. He got nailed.
A lot of his upside and his value comes from blocks, and that's going to be the kind of like the great balancer here, because you can't go against all these marquee players, go for blocks the way that he does, and stay in games for longer than 25 minutes. As a rookie, because unfortunately in the NBA, refs call rookies for fouls that they wouldn't call the vets for. And so that's kind of the upside capper here. Yeah. Unless every team mails it in against the Lakers, which I throw that out there as a caveat because, it's possible. You might rest players against them.
You said the Wolves are in there, and I feel like that's a team that's really still trying to prove something, so I doubt they would. But maybe some.
Well, you got Portland in the playoff chase. The Clippers are struggling, so they're probably going to want to right the ship before, at least in this first matchup. Washington is in the seeding battle. on down through the list. Memphis is kind of sort of in a seeding battle. San Antonio walks the beat of their own drum, so who knows what they'll do. That would be a good candidate game for rest, but their backups play well. They get respect from the refs.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, let's transition from some of the questions I had prepared for this show. I thought there were some really interesting things that went on this week that we should hit, even if nobody asked about it, and they probably would have anyway. But this chat room they're so on top of things. We could count on them to ask these same questions. But that was top of the show material. Middle of the show material is me telling you all, Aaron tipping his cap.
Well, it's top of the morning to you, sir. Isn't that something that people say on St. Patrick's Day?
I guess they do. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. That's middle of the show material. Have a green beer.
I hope some of you are at a bar watching us.
They should be. By the time I get this thing out in recorded fashion, for sure someone is going to be drunk and listening to this show. Right now, I don't know.
The way we used to do it, we would show up at like 7 a.m. and
oh, God.
But that's like a San Luis Obispo thing.
That's pain. That is painful. Hey, thank you to everybody that rated and reviewed this show and Brewski's box score breakdown. I haven't looked at the total on that one yet, but we hit 70 last night. That was awesome. That was my goal, was to get to 70, and now I got to set a new one. So,
well, did you get the memo from management?
I did not. What did it say?
Well, they restricted the requirements. They passed a bill at midnight that nobody got a chance to read, but it actually worked out in your favor. and what they did was they said the ratings from Fantasy NBA Today and the ratings from the Brewski box score breakdown, and then they fudged the numbers a little bit, got to 100. So now the premium product is just $2.99 for the rest of the year.
That was kind of management, because together it's like about 80% of the way there. That's a good fudging.
Well, I think I've got 18 on Brewski box score.
You're at 19 now, my good man.
Well, that makes, oh, dang, I did the math wrong. We're like 10 short.
We're actually more. Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. We're 11 short. We're close.
Well, we fudged the numbers in the public's favor.
Yeah, that's true. That's fine. 89 is close to 100. And maybe by the time people listen to this, 3 or 4 more people will have already rated it and we'll be over 90. So, by the way, to those of you that are listening to Fantasy NBA Today, as always, thank you very much. It's awesome the way that this show has grown over the first few months of its existence. To those of you that have been rating the show and tweeting to tell me about it, that's amazing. So, Christian Slickrock, you are officially the sponsor of today's program. Thank you, Josh Lloyd, for the idea. Christian says, Bespris is the best there is. He rhymed it. It's Susical. Been hoping for a podcast like this for the past few years. Was pumped when my friend turned me onto this. Solid fantasy discussion and advice. Keep on keeping on, amigos. Christian, we love you.
Why do you get to read something that's advantageous for you, that says good stuff about you?
Do you want me to go back to my favorite one of all time? You know which one it is.
It's so funny. It's so random.
BZYNIC. Dan has a sexy voice, sexier than Aaron Brewski, at least.
I love the internet, man. It just says some of the most random stuff.
Yeah,
no, we got another tweet, though. This is from Beans for Prez. He says, first Sailor Dan and his potty mouth. I don't know why you're talking to me about swearing. What did you say, Dan?
I said ass on a show earlier this week.
Did you say poo as well?
Is it South Park?
No, that's a Simpsons reference. Remember when Lenny and Carl go bowling with Homer, and Lenny takes ass, and then Carl takes poo, and then I think they argued over who gets to take what, and then I
don't know if I'm going to be able to censor any of this. I guess you can just say. Can you say
ass is a donkey? This is good.
True. It's true. It's when you add various suffixes to it that
this is George Carlin would be ashamed. No, he says first Sailor Dan in his potty mouth, and now Brewski obviously did today's show hiding from police in a train yard. You've changed, hoopball tweets.
That was from your Brewski breakdown. I don't know where were you when you did that show?
Obviously a train yard. I was hiding from the cops. No, it was some sort of we live in a quiet neighborhood, and I'll tell you, when the police go zooming by, it is loud. because everything you can hear at times 10 at night when it's all nice and still. So yeah, that happened right in the middle of the show. It was awesome.
That's not that uncommon because Zane on Wednesdays lives in an apartment in downtown Chicago, and there's at least one ambulance per program. It's old Chi-Town coming in hot. The other thing I wanted to mention here, again, thank you to everybody that's rating and reviewing the show. Bruce, quick follow-up on your premium membership note. $2.99. Is that what you just said?
No, I meant $299.
That's too much. I can't afford that.
No, it's $2.99, dude. It's like it's almost like you're silly to not do. I don't want to like make it seem like that, but like, you know, if you're just kind of curious, like what the hell have these guys been selling all year?
This is our prerogative. We have a few seconds per show. We do like 65 minutes of content. We can do 2 minutes where we talk about things.
Well, you know, the good thing about like, and we're in playoff time, right? So every night there's a show where experts take your questions. And so you can get nightly one-to-one, you know, type feedback on your specific stuff, you know, and while we've got the question and answer product, you know, is much more than that. Well, not much more, but it's more than that. And for you to get that kind of feedback on a one-on-one basis from experts that do this every single day, all day long, that alone is a massive value. And then you get the pickup articles and the tools and the projections and just the start sit stuff, all that stuff. $2.99. It's a pretty good bargain. But enough shilling, Dan.
That was
you get me in shill mode, and then I just can't stop. Like, would you like to buy something else? We've got this.
Perhaps you'd like to buy a vowel. The thing I have not done yet, by the way, is Fun Shirt Friday. I've just been sitting over here in relative anonymity with my fun shirt not yet revealed. So I'm going to go ahead.
Unsheath it.
I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera on. It's obviously backwards, but this is my hokey but lovable new dad 2016 in the rookie department shirt.
You know, it looks like 2015. Have you read it? Okay, it's 2016.
Oh yeah, I got my earbud cord over it. So yeah, this was purchased for me in preparation for my infant son who's been sleeping through the night like magic. So I'm a new dad. Everybody.
That probably gets chicks.
It would.
You know what I mean?
Went outdoors.
Like, oh yeah, he's a good guy. He's a dad.
Yeah. You know what else? You know what else drives ladies wild?
What's that?
I mean, wearing a ring.
Yeah. The secrets of the trade, young Padawans.
I can't be stopped. I'm too much.
There's got to be millions of dudes that have just gone out and they're like, well, gotta put that rig on now.
You're not intimidating. I say some of the weirdest things to females and they just don't care. And I think it's because they know that I'm not a threatening human being. See that, everybody? Wife, parents, whatever. I'm neutered. You're cool. Everybody's cool. Let's take questions. Let's take questions from the chat room. I'm good at transitions. I don't care what anybody says.
Everybody's cool. It's cool.
Everybody's the most important day of the week, boyos. Rate, review, subscribe. Yeah, that's right. Faisal, thanks so much for doing our job for us. Please rate, review, and subscribe. Need help keeping my narrow 5-4 lead against the Westbrook-led number 7 seed in their league. Westbrook's been a monster lately. For a Friday-Saturday back-to-back, who should I add from the following? Brandon Jennings, Matthew Dellavedova, Michael Carter-Williams, Sergio Rodriguez, or the non-back-to-back Terry Rozier. The waiver wire, as he notes, is rather dry right now.
My God. Way to open up the show with another coffee needed.
Delly or Sergio, probably, I would think.
So I would like to say Rozier, but I don't think you could take that chance. He might not play enough minutes to make the one game pay off. I don't think you can put your faith in Michael Carter-Williams. So Sergio's on the list. What were the other two, though? It was
Dellavedova and Brandon Jennings. And Delly's actually been playing some minutes lately.
Yeah. Delhi. Oh, yeah, I think Delhi might be the safe play here. Sergio's had some games where he plays just like 16 minutes per game, or that's typically what he plays now. So, I mean, you're really looking at 30 minutes compared to like probably 50 for Dellavedova.
Yeah, you got to go with the minutes. If his team is not completely cooked by Sunday, out of the following players, who has the best chance at assists on Sunday? Sergio Rodriguez, Tim Frazier, Monte Ellis, or Garrett Temple?
My God. I'm pretty sure I know the list again. Hit me with the list again, and I'll fire off the answer.
So Sergio Rodriguez makes a repeat appearance, and then were Tim Frazier, New Orleans, Monte Ellis, and Garrett Temple in your backyard.
I'm tempted to say Temple, but I think it's going to be Rodriguez because he's a great assist guy in general, and that, for Temple, a good assist game is like 4. And so, I mean, I feel like you might get 7 out of Sergio in a really good, he gets 24 minutes or something and, just gets cooking there for a little bit. But then on the low side, I think he could also equal the 3 pretty easily. I think you get 3 out of Sergio no matter what.
Willie Cauley-Stein versus Scal versus Nerlens Noel.
Tonight in a 1-game shot or?
In general, I think this is just sort of.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Scal and Willie and then Nerlens. Nerlens has fallen back with the injury. I think the revenge game.
It might happen.
The revenge game. The revenge game.
The reason the revenge game is just a non-issue overall is because there's a lot of times where guys go back to play a team and there's no storyline there. But there's a storyline with it. Like Noel, right?
There's a storyline because the same damn joke is made 5 million times in a row. That's the storyline with the revenge game thing.
Nerlens hearing about it in 2019.
Yeah, I guarantee you this. As long as the power is turned on in America and the world, you're gonna hear that joke again and again and again, and it's gonna be brutal. Scal, Willie, Nerlens, and Scal, just because, like I said earlier, I really do think. Imagine Scal at 30 minutes and going, say, 15 and 8 with good percentages and say 2.5 combined steals and blocks per game, with free throw percentages maybe not that great, but everything else is just in a good spot. That's top 40 value.
I'd trot all those guys out there. I love them all. Ben says, I'm in panic mode right now. I'm reading his notes actually in reverse order because I felt like it was important to read that one before I read the paragraph that led to the question. So Ben, we're going to try to get you here. Losing in percentage, losing in points by 70 and blocks by 3. I have 3 pickups left and 1 slot to use them for. Point guard heavy build so far. Who should I target, or should I save all of them and just drop 3 different guys on Sunday? This is, again, shooting for points, blocks, or percentages, or some combination of the 3.
I got news for this guy. I don't think he can catch up in points.
Yeah, that's tough.
70. So like an average day of a kind of semi-normal, actually 12 slots in like a lot of the leagues I play, getting 100 points is a pretty good achievement. On a busy night, you see some teams that can climb up to 200, but typically the most that you're going to see is like 130, 140. And so if you factor in what the deltas are on that, we're talking about huge nights there, and then you got a Saturday, Sunday might be a little slow. Making up 70 points with however many games played you have remaining just doesn't seem like a great goal of sorts. So really you're talking about blocks and field goal percentage, which says drop some point guards and go for the big men. Now, the timing of it is the question I think I'm hearing is, do I do it now versus wait till Sunday?
Yeah.
No, I think if you could see the targets now, you go now. because you need to make the move on an aggregate level over the course of as many games as possible. So you might be able to swap out stats for like, say, 4 or 5 games with big men instead of guards and move the field goal percentage and move the blocks. If these are the 2 categories you're trying to win, I think you get aggressive now and make those moves that you wouldn't normally make.
It sounds like YouTube may actually be having some slight issues. We saw a tweet come through. It would also explain why all of the viewers disappeared briefly, but I think they're starting to make their way back in now. So feel free to play a little catch up. We're into the questions, and I just sent a note out about it as well. So hopefully people can kind of get this thing refreshed. It's not on our end. We saw what you saw, where it seemed like people were kind of being punted away and then coming back, but we're getting to all the questions. If you asked them, we're clearing them out one by one. So stick with us here. Rejoin the chat. I'm going to keep trying to send tweets out when Aaron's talking, and we'll make sure that we got this thing squared away. Fear not. It is largely under control. The chat room actually tried to help out Ben a little bit, so some of the discussion went back and forth on his question. We have our good friend C-Funk with a nickname for Ivica Zubac, and that nickname is Zukiel O'Neal. I like C-Funk, you're one of our favorites, man. Don't change. Let's see some of the options that we're getting thrown around. It looks like Rondé Hollis-Jefferson is available in Ben's league. Bazemore, Willie Cauley-Stein, Skal, or is that? Yeah, Skal, Rashawn Holmes, Marquise Chris. There are a lot of pretty good options out there, actually. So the blocks gap seems pretty attainable with some of those names.
Oh, yeah. Well, now Willie Cauley-Stein's not a blocks guy anymore. Like he's switched to Tom Chambers mode, where he's now an offensive player. I'm not kidding.
Well, he did have the 4 steal, 4 block game, so that was pretty good.
Well, yeah, I do got to take that. But still, like, there's been too many empty defensive stat sets that, like, some games they just get, crazy like that. But, yeah, there's a lot of blocks of Skal. You got Marquise Chris, all those guys. Rashawn Holmes isn't going to get a ton of blocks, but, a lot of must-own mid-round at a minimum, kind of talent there.
Questions about Phoenix now. With Eric Bledsoe being shut down, it seems like a lot of guys on that team get a little bit of a bump. How many of them move from below the line to above the line? I'm sort of reinterpreting a question.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to put it. I don't think that – I mean, we all know about Tyler Ulis, and my question is Ulis going to play 40 minutes a game? Because Brandon Knight might not want to play, and I don't blame him. With the way that franchise handled him, like I would basically not play if I was him, and no, that doesn't really matter. So if they tap him to play and he agrees, then you see Ulis in like more of like a 30-minute range. You're going to see a ton of Devin Booker handling the ball. I mean, he could hoist up 26 shots a game, and that wouldn't surprise me at all if he averaged that for the rest of the year, which is an insane amount of field goal attempts. But as far as like TJ Warren was already worth owning, Marquise Chris was already must own. I don't think this changes the table on Alex Len at all. So I don't know that anybody sort of rises up from the ashes in Phoenix.
Does TJ Warren get over the list? He's been a guy that we've sort of clowned on a bit, but I mean, with extra opportunity, he might kind of bump into that usable range, right? He's been a little better.
I think he was a late round guy before all this went down. And you totally didn't get my joke, by the way. I'm a little upset. I
was trying to read ahead to make sure I had the next question prepared.
I know, but I'm just saying it was a well done pun, or metaphor, or simile.
I'll go back and watch it. I promise.
Yeah, right. No, I don't think that. So Warren, I think now is more of a top 100 guy as a result of all of this offense being available to him. But don't sleep on Devin Booker just absorbing it all. Like he's like, no, this is, I'm the captain now, and goes out there and if he can make shots, it could be the case that Devin Booker kind of makes up for his crappy year with playoff league owners.
We have a chat room user who is in a league with no trade deadline. So we actually have a trade-related question, which is kind of interesting. This person, Tama, picked up, a longtime listener, Picked up.
Is that Tama?
Yeah.
Tama writes for us.
Really?
Tama joined.
Oh, well, welcome. You don't have to ask questions in the chat room then. You can actually just text him.
I know that's true. He could, but no, I think he likes the chat room. What's up, Tama?
Sweet. So ended up with Kevin Love, thanks to us. We got a shout out there, but don't need him. Don't need another big man. Is there someone out there you feel like is a comparable point guard, at least in terms of value and risk, that could be acquired for Kevin Love right now?
In a trade.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Kyle Lowry comes right off. That seems like if you were trying to swap in this kind of random scenario here, I would say Kevin Love, or probably Kyle Lowry would be, kind of an intriguing sort of a swap. I mean, but as far as like Kevin Love's value going forward, I think, saying top 50, top 60, sort of a, expectation for Kevin Love, accounting for time off and potential missed games. I think that's a fair sort of evaluation. So you might be looking at somebody like Drew Holiday, who owners are a little bit,
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think here's the thing: if Boogie decides to call it quits, then you get early round Drew Holiday, who's putting up massive numbers.
Tyler Ulis or Malcolm Brogdon?
Ulis. And you know what? I got to take a second on Ulis to own something. Like, we were hesitant on Ulis, and now he's definitely going to be a lot of fun to own. I think he's going to put up some big popcorn stats and get it done for folks. Though I will say this: when Ulis slipped, the big Ulis backers, the people that thought they had intel 2 months ago that Eric Bledsoe was going to be shut down on March 14th, those people, they got all soft on Ulis, and then they partied after the shutdown.
It's all about the way you present a story. It's not about the facts. The facts don't matter. If we've learned anything over the last 2 years, the facts don't matter at all. It's how you present them. Yeah, I'm looking at the chat room, and there's a lot of posts about where did they go. So obviously this whole thing went down for a few minutes there, but we're back. We're back.
What's weird is we've had a great connection. Like, I've not had one glitch.
It's YouTube side. This one actually wasn't us, in a rare twist. Your audio has been perfect. Our video has been perfect. I'm in high def, which is horrible for the viewers. Sorry. James Lee has a question that's pretty in depth, but I'm trying to get to all of them today because it's playoff week. So stick with me here. James Lee's team is being outgamed in the playoffs. Just poor fortune, which actually is happening to me too. So James, I feel your pain. I drafted a team where most of my guys have decent playoff schedules. It just so happens that all of their slower rounds happen at the same time. And then if I can make it to next week, then all my guys are going to go crazy. Hoping to take one of his players and turn it into a streaming slot. And he's asking for our help figuring out which player is most droppable. And this is, I think, maybe a little bit of a shallow leak, because there's some pretty good names in here. I will read what I deem to be the bottom 5. I'm going to wipe out, we got the whole team, so I'm going to wipe out the top 1, 2, 3, like 5 or 6 names on here. It is 10 team. Okay, so that explains that. 8 cat. Bottom 5 are probably Seth Curry, TJ Warren, Jeremy Lin, Dion Waiters, and Clint Capella. Who would you turn into a streaming slot from those guys?
I'm going to go with
Lin because of back-to-backs, maybe?
No, and I think Lin is actually, he's kind of become their leader, which isn't a stretch to think about, but like really like on a daily basis kind of bringing that to the table, and he's normalized the rotation. I think he wants to play, and I think they might be all right with letting him play down the stretch so they get good developmental minutes out of their youngsters. I'm going to say Dion Waiters, because I think the shooting regression is going to kick in. I think there's a lot of a crowd there, and typically he's not a great standard league guy. So I think that this is the time to fade Dion.
I want to get a 2-day combo from Costa Koufos. Do we know if he's going to be rested in any of the back-to-backs?
Probably not these two.
That's our buddy Movie Dude, by the way.
What's up, Movie Dude? Probably not against the Spurs and the Thunder. I mean, anything's possible, and I think they are going to rotate the rest. And so Darren Collison is somebody we talked about on the breakdown. Is we're not going to worry about it going forward, but if it happens another time, then we got to kind of worry about it going forward. Koufos was rested, and these two teams have bigs. Like OKC's got a pair of bigs. LaMarcus Aldridge. I think he plays in both.
Could you please choose 2 of the following rest of season? Marquise Chris, Skal, Cody Zeller, and Marcin Gortat, who has slipped onto these types of lists thanks to the play of Jan Mahimi.
Ooh.
I feel like Skal's in there for you, right?
I mean, Gortat is a top 60 guy when going the right way. He's
suffering from a very mild case of Valanciunitis.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? These things sometimes come down to him and John Wall not getting along. I'm not kidding. Or him and the team not getting along. He gets into it with those guys, and a lot of his production on the offensive side comes from passes that he gets from John Wall. You're going to maybe see a game off for John Wall. I'm going to go Skal and Chris here. I want to see Chris get like 6 money counting stats per game and go for like 15 and 6 every game.
The guy I'm trying to chase down in blocks in a Roto League has Marquise Chris, and that 5-block game was a swift kick to my nethers in any effort I may have to chase him down. Is there any difference between having Willie Cauley-Stein, Willie Hernangomez, Ivica Zubac, and Richaun Holmes at this point in a Roto League? So basically a rest of season question on those 4 guys.
And also, like, are they tightly bunched? I think with Holmes, there's a lot of upside that we haven't seen yet, and he's already getting you mid-round value. So I think he's ahead of Willie, and then you got Skal. What was the other 2?
No Skal in this one, actually.
No Skal? Okay.
2 Willies, a Zubac, and a Holmes.
That's right. So I think Willie and Zubac and the other Willie are pretty similarly bunched up. I kind of like Hernangomez's upside over Willie and Zubac. I hesitate there a little bit because there is this possibility that Zubac comes in and does some fun stuff, but I think he's closer to Willie than he's closer to Cauley-Stein than he is to Hernangomez, Zubac, that is. So those 3 are in their own little tier, and then Holmes is ahead.
I think YouTube was a little screwball today. We'll just keep pushing forward here. EE Instructor, who had that question, had a few funny follow-up notes in the chat room, so I'm just going to read them verbatim. Dan, you still have the love sign there. That's just romantic of you. Ruski has charts on a whiteboard, but you're a poet, a dreamer. Outstanding. Thank you for that. I love a good laugh. Desperate for blocks and rebounds. Should I avoid Costa Koufos and instead go with Danny Green if I'm shooting for blocks?
I mean, on the rebound side, if Costa plays, there's a good chance he gets like 8 boards for you. So I don't think Danny Green's helping you there. And then as far as blocks go, he's probably got as good a chance to get you a block as Danny Green does. So I'm going to say Costa in that case.
Who should I drop to pick up Skal and Marquise Chris? Drew Holiday, Jeff Teague, TJ Warren, D'Angelo Russell.
Well, that's a list.
Yeah, well, you're not dropping Jeff Teague, right? He's been pretty.
No. It's Warren. Unfortunately, you're going to see a lot of big lines out of Warren, and it's going to make you kind of question whether or not you should have dropped him, but just you got to remember the stat set is the issue with him. And he's, I think his upside's probably top 75. Anything's possible in a short sample size, because like early in the year in a 15, 20 game sample, he was like top 40, and then he slid to top 60. And after 20, 25 games, he was clearly below top 75. And that's where his real value is in a best case scenario. So I think he's the drop. Drop him.
What if you had to drop two guys? If you were going to pick up Scal and Marquise, would D'Angelo be the other one?
Yeah, that would be the other one. Only because you just don't know what's going to happen with him. And has he even really been a top 50 guy? You know, that'll be another miss of mine, by the way, is old D'Angelo Russell. The knee injury really killed him, and playing with practically no veterans will be the other thing that killed him.
Tama, by the way, says, got to support the show from the roots. Started from the bottom, now we're here. P.S. got Kyle Lowry, too.
Nice.
Tama, we appreciated you sticking in the chat room, despite the fact that you can probably just log in and join the show if you wanted to. Frank, what was Frank the Cowbell something or another has changed his YouTube handle to Frank Me and the Kangs Don't Talk No More. Yes. When can I purchase next year's premium services? He wants to get the jump on it, man. That's the second person who's asked that.
My God. I don't know. This is bad. Like when people want to buy stuff, you got to have like it all ready to go. I'll have to put a word in with tech.
Yeah.
And see what they got cooking.
Back at Oob Ball HQ, yeah, that's where all the good stuff goes down. Maybe you put together a little like end of this season, beginning of next season kind of package. That's an age-old baseball season ticket holder trick. Buy the last 2 weeks of 2014, and we'll give you a seat to 2015 at 10% off or something like that. And yeah, it's sometimes.
It sounds like you've done this before.
Yeah, minor league ball, man. It's almost starting. I feel this weird. There's like a weird emptiness, but also a great feeling of relief that I'm not currently putting in the 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. 45 consecutive days leading up to opening day. I was talking to a good buddy of mine who still does work in minor league ball, and he said that this most recent Sunday was the first day, any day of the week, any of the 7, not weekdays, the first day he had not gone to work since January 21st. And the season doesn't even start for another 3 weeks. So miss you minor league ball, but also to some degree.
Smell you later.
Smell you later. DJ Persian says he set up a strategy, or she, I guess it could be either, set up a strategy during the regular season where they can win free throws, 3 points, points, assists, and steals. So winning 5 out of 9 reliably, punting 4 categories, basically. This is an all or nothing type of strategy. I've actually tried this once before. It's kind of fun, but if it works, if your team stays healthy, generally you can just steamroll your way through the playoffs. But if one guy gets hurt on your team, the whole thing blows into a million pieces. So you have to have things sort of fall in your favor. That's not the question. The question is, he happens to run into a team that's just almost dead heat with him in assists and points. Should he stream for points or assists? What do you think is easier to find at this time of year?
Oh, it's almost always points, I think. That might require a little bit of research, just to kind of see what's out there, I guess.
Let me give you he's done the work for us here on the follow-up question because
good.
So on the points side, there are guys like Will Barton, Kent Bazemore, Brandon Ingram. I guess Corey Joseph could almost fall into both in some small degree. He's not a terrific assist guy, but he's out there. Jamal Murray is kind of an overlap guy as well.
I can answer that. Will Barton,
he had a great game yesterday.
Well, here's the thing. We don't know when Gallo or Chandler are coming back. It could be next game. It could be a week from now. There's a playoff chase involved, but they got a decent cushion. And Barton, I think, even with those two back, might be your best option. why we're seeing Barton questions is a lot of sites told people to drop Barton. Like, he had a couple bad games and it was like, okay, this isn't going to work for Barton. But I mean, he's just a good basketball player and he plays in a great system, and especially with those two out, because once Chandler and Gallo go out, it becomes the Nikola Jokic show and the ball just flies around everywhere. And then Barton is an opportunistic player. He gets involved and you get these big nights.
Some of the other names available, by the way, if we were to go on the assist side, were Jameer Nelson, JJ Barea, Ish Smith, Sergio Rodriguez, Ty Lawson. So there are a few options out there, but it does seem easier to go for points.
I think the points is going to be easier, and I also think that the, say, 3 to 4 assists per game that you're going to get out of Barton is going to be, pretty good.
Can Nerlens Noel get healthy over these last couple of weeks? Is there a possibility that he sort of gets to the point that we know he can, which is a monster?
That's a fair question. I mean, taking time off during a playoff chase, and I don't know if that maybe his camp is also saying, hey, we're playing things extremely safe here, until the end of the season. That's an issue. I know Dallas is more or less committed to him in a way, but it's odd to say the least. I mean, knee issues, it's once they hit, and it could be very possible that he's just not going to be the player that we had hoped and thought he would be. I'm not ruling out good stuff, but it's at least got to be a consideration.
Jim Collins, by the way, has said make that 3 that have already asked about next year. So it's
we're gonna have to get Tech
catching on.
Wake up, Tech.
I think I got something for you to work on over the weekend if you didn't already have 9,000. So 9,001 things to work on. Chicago is the last thing I want to bring up. C-Funk brought it up in the chat room, but it was one thing that I thought about asking during our sort of opening act on this program. With Dwayne Wade's injury, is this the match that gasoline-doused dumpster needed? And if so, is it Carter Williams time? Is it Denzel Valentine time? Is Mirotic going to be relevant for more than 2 games? Is Bobby Portis gone? Is he there? What's the 3-minute breakdown on Chicago? And then I'm going to go ahead and tie a little bow on this bad boy.
Okay, it is, and we've been prepping you guys for like weeks on this, so hopefully you knew this was coming, and I think Jimmy Butler's the next domino to fall, say within like the next week or so. If I had to pin the tail on the donkey there, I'd go in about 9 days, Jimmy Butler has some sort of a hamstring injury or something like that, and then they call it a season there. The pickup is Denzel Valentine out of the backcourt. And keep this in mind, Cameron Payne's foot's acting up. He's out of the equation. I mean, I think they roll with Rondo, who's must own. I think Jerian Grant's not a factor, but Valentine could come in, and I think his lines will be productive as soon as, like, not this week, but the following week, where he's actually making noise and making an impact in fantasy leagues. Then Mirotic is supposedly going to get a look in the starting job. I think that you can't count on him for anything, but I would rate him as a top 125 guy with 100 upside. That might be helpful. There's a lot of risk there, obviously, just with his relationship with management. And then Paul Zipser is your dark horse for value. I saw a blurb come through that he would benefit from all of this rotation stuff. And I don't know that we've seen enough to say he's going to get it done, but he would be the guy that if you get a good hit in his first couple games, you know the name, and it's not so shocking to you. You go out there and you make a quick move. Bobby Portis sucks.
If I didn't laugh, that would have been the perfect way to end the show, and I screwed it up. I'm sorry. That would have been the greatest closing line. Like, if that was the last podcast we ever did, that would have been the perfect way for it to end.
I hope he doesn't catch wind of. That's so harsh. He doesn't suck. None of these players suck.
We're talking about fantasy sports. We're not talking about their real skill. These are obviously the best.
If he doesn't want to be talked about like that, go do more than you're doing, Bobby Portis.
Aaron Bruce, today on Fantasy NBA Today, Aaron Bruce destroys poor Bobby Portis.
Actually, Doc at Roto World did the greatest thing. He like totally went harsh on Dante Jones one day, and Dante Jones hit him up on Twitter. Like, what are you doing, dude? It was like a Twitter war between Doc and Dante Jones of all people.
I don't think I'd want to get in any kind of battle with Dante Jones. That dude was tough. Good.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, look at he lasted in the league, as long as he did, and he still gets kind of invitations back. So yeah, definitely a tough player.
Last that long on your ability to like not get pushed around by an offensive player. That was basically it. Anyway, he's Aaron Bruski. I'm Dan Besbris. We're over the hour mark, so I'm calling it. Time of death, 12:29 a.m. p.m. Oof, is it a.m.? p.m. Pacific time. At Aaron Bruski on Twitter, at Dan Besbris, at Hoopball Tweets. Go get the premium membership for $2.99. Aaron's going to work on a package where you can get the end of this year and all of next year as well. He's going to get with tech. You're using our commander-in-chief's technique of putting things in quotes. Nobody actually knows what tech means when you put it in quotes like that.
But I want to be specific with my language. Tech will be on it.
I guess I should try to clear that up. He's not making fun of anybody for wanting the package. He's making fun of us, Oobball, and our tech department. He will get on that. Your patronage, as always, is most appreciated. We love you.
Thanks for that clarification, Dan.
We love you guys in chat room. You're what makes the engine go. Rate and review the pod. You're telling each other to do it. You guys probably have already done it already, but tell other people while you're at it. And Jim on Twitter, who might be Jim in the chat room, said that he finally just did it on his kid's phone. So if that's what it takes, hijack your child's phone and rate and review the podcast from there. I'm 100% behind that strategy. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Aaron's back with you on Sunday. Waiver Wire show, weekly lineup show Monday, and Fantasy NBA Today returns on Monday as well. I think we've got Ethan Noroff talking specialists next week. Tim Giorso coming back on the program after a thrilling debut last week, and some new Oobball voices. You can check those out as well. Again, enjoy your Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The Lightning Round Monday is our next show. We'll talk to you then.
We're live.